A couple of dudes just chugging and talking shit. You never know who's about to explode on this week's episode of Human
With this week's guest, Chef Andy Peterson.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Human Landmines 14. It's May 7th. It's afternoon and we're having some drinks.
Yeah, welcome everybody, and I'd like to introduce our guest this week. He is a chef from Brunswick, Georgia, at a top-tier hotel resort facility. And he's also an amateur DJ and producer, and he was in great hardcore metal bands all across the South Carolina coast back in his heyday. Andy Peterson.
It's fantastic to be here, guys. Thank you for having me on the show.
No problem.
Yeah, you wanted us to say that you're also an artist, right? Visual artist?
I
Is that true?
recently discovered that I have a strong love of painting. It's been something I picked up recently that, I don't know, it's been a nice change as opposed to buying a lot of really expensive audio production software, equipment, what have you. It's a little bit cheaper outlet, and I've had a lot of fun. And I don't know if I'd say success, but I think success is personal in my world. So
That's a really good way to look at it, though. Too many people don't care about if they're happy; they just want to be successful in everybody else's eyes. So,
Is it something you're doing, like, you want to, is it like have a trajectory to it, like you want to like maybe have a little gallery show, or is it like more like personal and like meditative, you're just doing it for you?
I've never really had a lot of wall art in any of my personal spaces, like my house or apartment or wherever I'm living at. So it's kind of started out as like, my walls are blank, I need to put something on them. So like, rather than buy a bunch of paintings and art and crappy posters, I might as well just paint them myself and cut the middleman out. So that's how it started. And then I got these ideas about combining the art of food plating and doing designs on the plate and everything, and maybe trying to build that into the visual art and kind of treating a canvas like a plate. Take those same concepts and the different styles in which you would plate food, and maybe work that into a canvas space. So, kind of marrying the worlds that I live in. So, it's cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We'll see how it turns out.
Well, we don't have a lot of wall art. I mean, I have a lot in my room. I have shit that I put up all over the place, but the common areas of our house, I just put every like Godwin Falcon poster and flyer and everything. So like when people come in, we're just like repping our band so hard. They probably think we're like fucking hard asses, but it was just like, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't mind repping my band really hard, because like, if I'm not going to support my band, then who is?
Yeah, you got to have pride in what you do.
Yeah.
Especially in your own house.
Yeah.
Like, you're not putting that in anybody's face. They're coming over.
Yeah, exactly.
It's when you start wearing your own band T-shirt, your shows. It's like maybe that's where you draw the line, but you could also play that to your advantage.
Yeah, like I wore my band T-shirt, my own band's T-shirt. It was like all my laundry was dirty, and I was bartending at the Art Gallery Coffee Bar a few weeks ago, and I was wearing like a Godwin Falcon T-shirt. And it was poetry night, which is all cool. Poetry, I don't know, a lot of people write it.
It's a dying art. It's a dying art. I was actually thinking about that today. So you don't.
But well, we could talk about poetry right after this. But this kid came up to me and he's like, "Oh, you know them Godwin Falcon guys, huh? Yeah, dude, they're my boys."
Fantastic.
That's hilarious.
And I was like,
"That's good. Like, he's a fan."
Yeah, I was like, "Cool." You know, I know a few of them.
What do you think about the bass player?
Yeah. Would you suck the bass player's dick after a show, bro?
Yes. Andy, what were you going to say about poetry?
Yeah, poetry, it seems like the emphasis on poetry has kind of died out over the past, since the 1960s where the beatniks really took poetry to this whole nother level, and it got into the mainstream, and then since then I feel like kind of died off. I feel like there's not as much emphasis on it in the mainstream media, which I found strange because, you would think that in this age of technology where communication has become something that's readily available to everybody, that the spoken word, especially a preconceived idea in the spoken word, like a poem, would become something that is a little more prominent in our society. But rather than becoming more prominent, it's become backseated.
Yeah, you would think, like, because a poem can also be really short and could like fit on a BuzzFeed style page. Like, you could have the top 10 best poems of 2014, and like maybe they'd all be short and like readable and accessible.
Yeah, and
it seems like it's even shorter than a song. Like, it could be.
Yeah,
at least
it's with how ADD everybody fucking is nowadays. It's like, oh yeah, I don't want to read a whole story, but I could do a poem real quick before I forget.
Yeah.
What's also strange is now they have computers that are creating poems, just based on a bunch of
algorithms.
Yeah, based on a bunch of different algorithms. Like I'm sure the length of the word, the syllabic length of the word, rhyme, meter, all those things are taken into account, and they can use all these different variables to have computers create poems. Now, their intrinsic meaning, obviously, is going to be completely empty because you have a soulless machine creating it. But it's kind of a cool concept because the reader completely fills that poem with meaning individually. Like, there's absolutely no
meaning,
initial impetus behind that poem,
Yeah, I pulled some up. You guys want to hear a couple?
Yeah, sure.
Ray Kurzweil actually is one of the coolest futurists and interesting technological guys. Built something that writes haikus, a computer that writes haikus. So that's good because they're short. So here's one. Is beauty itself that they were walking there all along the new world naked, cold, familiar wind? It's pretty good.
It's so like new age bullshit.
Well,
like
I did fiction writing in college, and like you have to take one poetry class, and that's like better than a lot of the kids in my class's poetry. I
think that was the only class I ever went to.
Yeah. Well, so art classes like that, like I don't know how really music classes are because I didn't take any in college, but like I took screenwriting, I took several fiction writing courses, I took playwriting, and I took poetry writing, and classes. Oh, and I took drawing, and it was the same thing. Like I liked that because you presented your work to like 20 people who would tell you why it sucked.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
but
it's great to have.
Now that you're not in like that, like the real world is it's much different than a workshop environment where you present your art and everybody goes around and tells you that it sucks and why, and you could like learn from their criticisms, or if they're like, I didn't like this part, and you're like, well, that part's important. Maybe you need to like make that part better. But in the real world, everybody just tells you that your stuff is awesome.
Yeah.
Or they don't say anything at all.
It's like Facebook is the workshop for your writing now. It's like somebody writes some lame, sad, soppy post about their girlfriend, and everyone's just like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Or they ignore it. Even like, that's even worse. Like, it's even worse than telling someone to shut the fuck up, I think. Because if you wrote a really sappy thing about you breaking up with your girlfriend and there was just no response, like, whatsoever, you're pouring yourself out, you'd be like, damn, that must have sucked.
Yeah. But
Andy, did you go to school for cooking? For chefing?
No, I didn't. I went to the school of Hard Knocks. I actually started out as a dishwasher at the Early Bird Diner.
Oh, that's awesome.
Up, EBD fans. I started there working the 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, 12 hours. And so I was, you get bored because there's a lot of times nothing to do. And so they taught me to cook over there. Dexter Hagler, awesome dude. He showed me a lot. And then I just kind of slowly but surely progressed through the ranks and once I got to the end of where I thought I was going to be in one place, I'd move on to the next place and just kind of followed my connections to wherever I was going to go. So
Yeah,
That's really cool.
the Early Bird Diner, that nice lesbian guy on the Food Network, Guy Fieri.
he did, and I'll tell you one thing.
Is it in Charleston?
Yeah, it's in west of the Ashley, but it's right on Highway 17.
Okay.
I'll tell you one thing about Guy Fieri is he catches a lot of shit for being kind of a cornball, like overly American fucking lampoon. But I will say that as far as being a local business owner, he does so much with his programming because every time that show comes on, they'll fill up. Same thing for like Tattooed Moose. And there's a barbecue joint down here that he visited, and it was the same thing here. I mean, they just blew up after his program featured them. So
Yeah. I think he's like he's a populist. Like, he's for the maybe not even 99%. He's for like the bottom,
the working man,
the bottom
dude. He's for the
50%.
working man.
Yeah,
Or something.
he looks like if me
Yeah.
and Mark McGrath of Sugar Ray had a baby.
That's amazing.
I'm never
He's
going
like-
to be able to see you without frosted tips ever again, Paul.
Yeah, I know. But the Early Bird Diner,
What do you?
I was gonna say they have like really
Go ahead,
cool
Paul.
and interesting ticket items. Like they got an innovative menu as far as a breakfast place goes or a diner goes.
They do. I mean, the whole concept behind the place is great. So they're going to create a diner with a very unique atmosphere, and they also double as an art gallery, which I think is fantastic. I mean, if you're a local artist, you can go in there, you can hang your art up, and they'll sell it for you, and give you the money when and if you ever sell any art there. And I just thought that was a really fantastic idea, and an idea that I kind of wanted to carry with me into the future if I ever decided to open up my own place. So
I think
Yeah, it definitely.
I think I'm about to explode this episode right now.
Let's do it.
I'm cutting to the chase.
break it wide open.
Guys, we got to talk about the obvious thing.
The tiger penis in the room.
The tiger penis in the room. China. There's an article in Vice this week that China had outlawed a bunch of products made from endangered animals, and one of the biggest things that they have outlawed is the tiger penis for sale over the counter human consumption. And so,
Yeah. Do you think people were let down by that?
That's
Like,
There's
was there a lot of
really
tiger
upset-
penis enthusiasts?
upset Chinese people right now.
I don't know. I mean, I understand like natural and holistic medicine, and that like a lot of people think like each different part of the animal, like that's part of some people's like, I guess you'd call it a religion because that's what they like truly believe. Is like if you consume tiger blood, it does A for you. Or if you eat the tiger's penis, it does B for you. Or any animal, like, and some of it's good for you, and some of it's like something you'd feed to somebody to injure them. Like it does bad things for you. But I don't know why you'd kill an animal and just instantly be like, all right, now let's chop its dick off. We're gonna eat that first.
I think it's definitely, like you said, it's almost religious. It's something that's steeped in a lot of history and practice. It's been going on since 650 AD is what I read, I believe. And
Yeah, Go ahead, Andy.
So apparently the practices are based completely. There's no real scientific evidence for any of it, which you may or may not believe. Essentially, what is believed is that the element of virility comes from the consumption of that specific creature's
Dick.
source of virility, which in this case would be the penis. So, or dick, as you so eloquently put it. And essentially, what is done is that the penis, after it's removed, is dehydrated as a form of preservation, which is pretty common in Chinese practice as far as food preservation goes. So it's dehydrated. Now the preparation.
Dick jerky.
Yeah, dick jerky. So essentially, what for the preparation is they'll take the tiger penis along sometimes with the tiger bones that have been preserved, and they'll create a soup, which is the same for shark's fin soup. I don't know if you saw anything about sharks, or you know anything about the shark's fin soup trade in China, but essentially they're overfishing the shit out of the waters for shark's fin in order to create this soup. And now the volume of shark's fin that they actually have in circulation is completely like it's overwhelmingly high, but the actual price on the objects is completely insane. It's non-sustainable at all because they cut the shark's fins off and they throw them back in the water like they're going to survive, but ultimately they end up dying.
That brings me to my question about the tiger.
Mm-hmm.
So is this like you shear a sheep and you don't have to? It doesn't have to die when you take its wool. Do they cut the tiger dick off and then like they have a bunch of tiger eunuchs running around in China?
I am not exactly sure, but I would assume that obviously it's not something that you can sustain, because if you take an animal's ability to reproduce and you just throw it in the fucking trash, then your population is going to immediately begin to dwindle. So as far as being, it's not like there's a tiger farm where they just reproduce tigers over and over again for some sort of like ultimate penis. Like, this tiger's got a huge dick, so we're gonna breed it with this tiger who's got like, I don't know. You can't breed two tigers with dicks because it doesn't work like that, man.
Yeah, no, but they probably like, maybe there's a guy checking around, like looking at the tiger's clits, and if they have huge clits.
They're just trying to crossbreed.
Get the big dick tiger over here. I found a whopper, Mickey.
That would be the way to do it, man.
Like the Mandingo and the
Ace Ventura.
No, who's the popular squirter? It's Cytheria. Like the Cytheria and the Mandingo of tigers got together and just created like these massively dicked fucking squirter tigers.
Yeah. Guys, I think our $1 million idea is tiger porn.
Tiger porn. I'm pretty sure that's already.
It's not a bad
I'm pretty
idea.
sure that's already illegal.
No, we show we show an hour-long porno with a hot chick in a threesome with a lady tiger and a man tiger. And then after the threesome, we chop off the tiger's dick on video, and then we serve it to everybody who comes to the movie premiere.
I'm gonna get in so much fucking trouble.
That's like a full immersive tiger experience you could sell.
Andy, do we have to bleep your name out?
Oh god, I need a face blur. Hold on 1 second. Let me protect my identity real quick. Now nobody knows who
Andy,
I am.
Andy, have you ever cooked any animal's penis?
I have not.
Have you worked with balls?
I've eaten
testicles?
balls, and let's not take that out of context. Please don't shorten that down to.
What animal's balls?
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Yeah, they're bull testicles.
Yes, and
are they good?
Oh, cool.
They're rubbery. Not really much flavor. I mean, they were fried. It was kind of like an overcooked oyster, if I could compare it to anything. So
it tasted.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
It tasted kind of like what you'd expect a ball to, rubbery, like.
Yeah, if like you ever grabbed hold of your own nuts. I mean, that same texture in your mouth.
Is that what haggis is, or is haggis intestines?
Haggis, I believe, is intestines. Yeah, and I would not.
Okay, because I had haggis.
No, haggis is actually stomach. Pardon me. Haggis is stomach.
You would not what?
Haggis is stomach.
Haggis is stomach, but I would not encourage anybody to eat intestines. They don't taste good. Essentially, eating intestines came from a historical necessity to use and consume all of the animal that was available. So if you look at chitlins, for example. So chitlins are a deep south tradition.
You're talking about like pork rinds?
No, chitlins are pork's intestine.
Pork belly.
No, intestines. The actual.
Oh, gross.
The poop tubes.
Oh, yummy.
So where they came from in the deep south was it's traditionally an African American tradition to eat chitlins. That's where they're prepared. It's deeply ingrained into soul food.
The Gullah Geechee culture?
That whole experience. And what it comes from is when the slaves were given any animal products, they were given whatever everybody else didn't want. So you got feet, you got intestines, you got the head, so all these things that the privileged elite whites didn't want, they gave away. And so that became a staple into the food culture of that people, and since then has just remained there. But if you've ever eaten it, they're really not that good. There's really no necessity to eating it beyond a traditional Thai.
Well, yeah, I think that every culture has food that they continue to make out of tradition that's not that good.
Yeah.
and my mom's side of the family is Italian. Mm-hmm. And so Italians have this Christmas tradition of all the fish. Do you know what I'm talking about, Andy?
Yeah, Feast of the Seven Fishes. Yeah.
It's like 7 seafood dishes. Mm-hmm. And we'd all the aunts and uncles would go to grandma's house and bring all the nieces and nephews, and they'd cook all day, and they'd have appetizers out when we got there, but then we'd all sit down at this big table and eat these 7 fish, and the whole fucking day the house smelled like shit. All day. It was the worst smelling house ever. It smelled like a brothel that hadn't been cleaned. It was just all kinds of because it's not all cooked the way you think it's gonna be. A lot of it's steamed or boiled, or it's just something is, or in the oven for 5 hours. Seafood juice is just evaporating into the house, and they didn't do it every year, but the years that they did do it, every relative of mine was just God damn it.
I was going to ask, did people like it?
Fish house today.
Was there somebody pushing it, or was it just all traditional?
It's very traditional, and the aunts would all be yeah, okay, I guess I'll make this one, and it was I think it was a little contest amongst the chefs, but
oh shit!
But they had 2 stoves there, you bring your stuff there to cook it, and you hang out all day, and
right.
And it was just everybody complained about the smell, but they never let grandma hear them complain or grandpa hear. But my grandparents are first generation Americans. Their parents and their older siblings were from Italy. And I can see where that was really important to them. Because that's how they grew up. And they might have even thought the same thing that I'm thinking. And just be well, we love our grandkids and we'd never do them wrong, but they're going to have to smell the fish house.
Yeah, it's I had to go through this bullshit. Now you can put up with it too.
Yeah.
Andy, what kind of food do you cook now at your restaurant?
I'm working in French currently. Before that, I was working in Italian. I haven't decided necessarily on a cuisine that I want to develop into long term. So testing the waters as it were, as far as what I want to do. I think ultimately though, I don't see myself putting borders on the type of food I want to do. Yep.
Yeah,
Andrew.
I think we might have lost Andy.
Oh man, he is making the cutest face on this frozen screen.
Shit, Andy, if you're there, we lost you.
Oh no.
All right.
Maybe we'll get you back.
Yeah, we're gonna have to tell him he didn't do anything. Hey, Andy, you're back.
I'm back.
Andy, we lost you.
Andy, we didn't hear you say anything until you made this exact face.
That's how it was
frozen. Yeah.
But anyways.
Andy, are you there? Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah, no.
So you were saying we lost you when you were saying you hadn't figured out what you really wanted.
Yeah,
to
no,
this particular cuisine.
I've been I worked, like I said, in an Italian place. I'm working in French now, and I see myself long term, anyways, not wanting to be boxed in by regional cuisine. I think my favorite restaurants, anyways, are restaurants that are doing kind of whatever they want from wherever they want, and taking little bits and pieces of that they like from all over the globe and marrying them into this new kind of globalized idea about food, which is that if you can get food from all over the world and combine it in ways that haven't been experienced yet, then why wouldn't you do that? I mean, it ties back into the whole globalized nature of our, modern society, which is continuously evolving. So I think food has a responsibility to continuously evolve along with everything else.
Yeah.
Obviously
awesome.
you do want to keep tradition alive in certain respects, but I think that there's something to be said for kind of letting food grow as the world grows smaller and smaller and closer together. So yeah, that's my stance on it.
All right, so Andy, how would you prepare a tiger dick? How would you, if you had to make an original recipe?
Well, I know that a tiger dick is probably high in really porous muscle tissue because of the way the penis functions.
That dicks are, yeah.
Yeah, dicks absorb a lot of blood, so they got very porous tissue. I'm sure it's pretty tough. So what I would do, if I were going to prepare one and it was fresh and not dehydrated, I would probably braise it. And what braising is going to do is it's going to allow all those fibrous tissues to break down, and you can take a piece of meat that's initially very tough and make it tender. So if I was going to prepare a tiger penis, now I don't know the flavor profile behind a tiger penis. I can only assume that it's pretty gamey. So I would pair it with.
Do you imagine that all dicks are gamey? Like
I would assume.
There's your cat. That's awesome.
His tiger dick's
like
already
gamey
gone.
too.
Already gone. No. I hope you enjoyed it, Peterson.
It was. You live and learn. I just ate it raw the first time because I didn't sashimi actually, no rice.
But
no rice.
If I imagine like all dicks are pretty gamey, so I'm gonna just go around from now on telling everybody, "Yo, dude, you got a bird dick."
Do birds have dicks? Like I've actually had this conversation before, talking about different animal dicks that you never see.
I wanna know what you do with it after you braise it.
Okay, so back to tiger. Herbs are going to be really important. Herbs and spices, because something that's gamey, you're going to need some freshness to kind of cut through that gaminess. Maybe some acid, like a nice vinegar, or some citrus, depending on the actual flavor profile of a tiger penis. What would be closely similar? I can't even think of something in American culture that we eat that would be similar to tiger to even know what it tastes like. Because I mean, it's not like you find wildcat on menus anywhere in the States. So it's really hard to tell. I mean,
I feel like a bison's a pretty beefy animal, and we eat that sometimes in America. So maybe like tiger's like the bison of the cats. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a safe assumption. So,
would you pair it with wine?
If I was going to pair it with wine, it'd be a red wine or a dark beer. Nice. Because tiger's blood, I think, was consumed pretty commonly too. We probably need to do some research into that. That's one thing I kind of overlooked in my studies over the past couple of days preparing for our interview. Because I mean, believe it or not, I did do some research into this.
Well, it's a fascinating story, man. And it seems like it would be fun as a chef to think about stuff like that. Like, how would I make a tiger dick if, like, we got some fresh tiger dicks in, and like I wanted to incorporate it into the menu? Like, that seems like a fun exercise.
Hey, everybody! You learned it straight from one of the great chefs of America. How if you get your hands on an illegal tiger penis, how you should cook it to optimize your intake of virility.
Yes. Braise it in a tiger stock. Utilize the whole animal. Take the bones, make yourself a nice tiger stock, mirepoix, lots of herbs. Take that, braise your tiger penis in your tiger stock. Probably a little bit of butter, some richness to add in there. Herbs, totally totally important. And then what you can do is you can take that braising liquid that you made the tiger penis in, and you can reduce that down into a nice jus. So then you would take your tiger penis after it's nice and cooked. You'd baste it in this tiger penis jus that you created. A jus is basically a reduced sauce made from
like
stock.
Au jus with jus.
Yeah.
Yes. So tiger penis au jus is essentially what you come up with. Shave it thin too. Any thick, any really tough piece of meat, the thinner you can shave it, the better off you're going to be. You might be good with a deli sandwich or something like that. That might be nice.
Tiger penis French dip au jus. See, when we first started, when I first found out that all these endangered species products were getting outlawed, and tiger dicks was like one of the biggest things on the list.
Yeah, buzz items.
Yeah. I was like, tiger dicks, holy shit! And I immediately thought of. And you said citrus, which is like an orange-based sauce. Mm-hmm. General Tso's tiger penis.
That's the direction Paul would go.
Yeah.
You still probably have to braise it before you fried it, just to make
I'd
sure.
Slice it like a pepperoni. Slice it like a big pepperoni log. And then I'd batter it in tempura. And then I'd fry it. And then I'd fucking cook it in the General Tso's sauce.
I just realized...
Put some broccoli in there. Scallions.
I just realized that PETA is going to have a fucking heyday with this if they ever find out that we did this episode.
We're not telling you to eat the tiger penis.
Let's disclaim this right now.
I support the tiger penis ban.
I
just wanted to talk about it hypothetically.
I do too. We need to
Andy.
Matter of fact, I support not eating anything's dick.
Yeah.
If I can just put that out there.
There's that weird fucking guy who started the Icelandic Phallological Museum, and it took him like 40 years to collect enough dicks to start a museum.
You have to elaborate on this. You have to elaborate on this.
Andy, we talked about this on a past episode. This guy in Iceland has the Icelandic Phallological Museum. He has like over 50 whale dicks. He has like almost every land mammal's dick on the planet except for humans. So I had mentioned that. What about like the whole time he's collecting all these dicks, his neighbors see him walking down the hall trying to get into his apartment with a bloody bag and like, oh, what's up? And he's like, oh, nothing. I went around, just collected more animal dicks. I'm starting a museum one day.
Got a big old bag of dicks.
Yeah, I got a squirrel's dick. I got a rabbit's dick. I found an iguana in the park and I cut its dick off. But all of these were dead. I wait till they're dead to chop their dicks off.
Yeah, because otherwise you're a psychopath. But if they're dead, it's totally fine.
You'll be a nation ridden with eunuch tigers running around apathetic about everything because their dicks are chopped off.
Hey, you what?
Yeah, guys, I have to tell you guys real quick that I googled tiger dick so that we could show a picture of a tiger dick. And it's all pictures of this like old school boxer who must have had a nickname Tiger Dick.
Maybe his name was Richard.
Little known fact. Yeah,
Tiger
maybe. Yeah,
Dick.
you're right.
It's not like Tiger Dick. It's like Tiger Dick.
You're right.
Well,
Thank you, Andy.
Tiger Woods' name is Tiger Woods. Maybe it was like another person whose parents decided to name him Tiger that was a good athlete.
No, you're just getting confused. Tiger Woods is just a dick.
No, I think his name is just Dick Tiger.
Oh, Dick
like
Tiger.
The first and last
name.
That's a sweet name.
He could switch. He could switch careers really easily. He could transition into porn so fast.
Oh yeah.
Dick Tiger sounds like somebody played the game where you put your like first pet's name and your street name together to make your porn star name, and it just came out backwards.
So
Dick Tiger.
So we talked a little bit before the show about a similar story. Speaking of dicks, I guess we're going phallic the entire episode. It seems like
we all have them.
Yes, but
they're the coolest things we own.
Paul,
we might as well talk about them.
At this point in the show, the guys temporarily experienced technical difficulties. We'll be right back.
And we're back. Well, we just had an audio issue, but don't make my facial tissue a racial issue.
Rhymes.
Yeah, but that leads us right into rapping. And what we were about to talk about when we were talking about how our dicks are the coolest things that we own, as humans, like, and girls, your titties and your vagina and your butthole are the coolest things you own too. My butthole is cool too, and I got cool tits. But we were talking about the rapper loosely associated with Wu-Tang Clan, Bobby Digital. Produced the first North Star album, not to be confused with pop punk icons North Star, that later became Casino, because those are awesome bands. But these rapper guys got associated with the Wu-Tang Clan, and one of them attempted suicide, but not before he chopped his own dick off.
Yeah, it's a real tragedy.
It's like a...
Well, it's a tragedy they didn't fucking die, right?
They need to investigate it, because it could have been somebody trying to steal his ability to rap better, and maybe it's deeper than we even know, and somebody cut his dick off, and then he's like, I can't live like this, and so only that after that he's like, I'm gonna jump out the fucking window now. Like,
some dude cut his dick off, and they're like, I'm gonna eat it and absorb his rapping virility. and like, I'm gonna know so many more words after I chomp down on this dick. And then he like broke free and killed them and hid the body, and he's like, man, I reached my vengeance, and I totally vanquished my captor, but he chopped my dick off, and I'm still bleeding in my boxer shorts. I gotta jump out of this motherfucking window.
You know what I would have done before I fucking jumped out the window? I would have eaten my own dick, recorded a fucking unreleased track, and then jumped out the window.
Yeah.
Oh,
You'd be like infamous in like the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. Like World Star Hip Hop would have like a month dedicated to you after that.
that's true. Dick eater.
Hey, Steven, did you see that article I sent you about the mathematics and computer programmer guy that put all the rappers' words into the system and ranked rappers on how many original words they use in their first...
Yeah, so now we have more scientific reasons that Drake sucks.
Yeah. Well, can you pull up that chart and kind of scroll over some of them so the people, the 56 people watching the show and the 8 people who liked us who don't watch the show can like,
any
see
new
what I'm talking
viewers.
about? So this is a chart that this guy, so William Shakespeare was said to use like 29,000 original words, which I guess there's some statistic in writing that an author, when he writes, uses like a third of his full vocabulary in his actual dialogue of writing. And so William Shakespeare is like renowned to be one of the probably have the biggest vocabulary of all time. And I know there's all those like conspiracy theories about how multiple people wrote his plays, but we won't get into that for right now. We're not conspiracy theorists. We just like to talk and chug.
Hey, speak for yourself. I'm a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, you are. You some bitch. Both of you guys are. I have to tell you that
The point is,
anyway, this guy put all these rappers onto this chart, and so everybody could be compared on like a control basis. He just used their first 35,000 rap lyrics that they've recorded and released. And so there's like an average of how many like West Coast rappers, like where their word novelty lies. And the guy who got number one is actually, I'm a big fan of Aesop Rock.
Yeah, he was way out ahead of everybody else too.
He was like way out ahead of everybody. And then DMX was the lowest ranked, like, popular or successful rapper on there.
I thought it would have been Juvenile. Really, I do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, maybe like his first record was super legit, and we just don't know about
Juvenile
it.
just said yeah like fucking 30,000
Yeah.
fucking times.
my pony. But I think it's a really cool graphic because like he after like in the article they analyze all these trends of the graphic like and you can view the chart Wu-Tang only and they absolutely he had all the individual members of Wu-Tang their solo stuff the first 35,000 words of their solo stuff but then he also had Wu-Tang Clan as a band and like one of the analysis he did was of like here's how many words like each Wu-Tang member had in the full band Wu-Tang Clan bubble just to like let people know about the graph. He's like, here's how many words they had in the first 35,000 words of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Who's the worst off in that group? Can you pull that up? Like who's the worst Wu-Tang rapper by that standard?
It's Method Man, but he's still well above like an average rapper.
But we all knew that.
So,
and there's like
but I still like
there's
Method
three
Man.
members of Wu-Tang Clan that he like asterisks the chart and was like they have too few of lyrics to be a significant difference.
Right. Mm-hmm. Man, it's a cool chart, and like I feel like maybe it supports the fact that rap is getting dumber because a lot of the people on the left side of the chart, like the fewer words, are modern.
What?
Whereas the top,
A$AP Rock
10 have been around for a while.
A$AP Rock just came out with a new album this week.
Nice.
I believe so. It's called
Yeah, I don't mean that he's done. I just mean that like they've been around for a while.
Yeah, totally. And they take it as an I'm sorry, Andy. They take it as an art rather than like, yo, I want to shout stuff and impress women and make money.
I want to bring this back around to another article that I linked to you guys too. That I don't know if you got to read or not. It's about Trent Reznor talking about how safe the record labels are playing it now, and how bands are afraid to kind of go outside the box as far as what everybody else is doing. And this kind of all comes full circle, because really you can blame the artists for becoming dumber, but part of it is that you had dumb artists the whole time. Really, the major issue is that these record labels are now signing dumber artists than they used to, because they know that's what's going to sell records. You know, you guys have talked about the music industry on previous podcasts, and talked about how it's not about a full-length album, or like a general like idea that you create within an album, but it's just about hit songs, you know. So they find that they're better off signing dumb people that write dumb songs that dumb people like, because they're the ones that are still like paying for music, because the hip people are, dude, it's all Spotify. You know, you go on Spotify, you can listen to whatever artist from anywhere in the world that nobody's heard of.
And I will say that Spotify has an excellent discover function to their app.
It is fantastic. It's my favorite thing that's happened to music in a long time.
It like recommends bands to me every day, and I do the album of the day. I listen to a different album every day, and like it recommends so many bands to me that it actually analyzes what I've listened to and can tell me a band I like. It's rare that I come upon one that like fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like,
are you still carrying on your band a day initiative? Is that still going on?
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
I have no reason to stop. There's
there's
no excuse to not be able to listen to one album a day. Like, you could do it while you do other shit at your house.
I just wanted to check up with you on that, because I really appreciated that you like took that time to do that, and I don't think a lot of people these days do. It's, you know, you hear something on the radio and then you go and you listen to that song until you fucking hate it, and then you go and you listen to the next song that you heard on the radio and you listen to that song until you fucking hate it. So it's good that people are still actively listening to music and seeking out new bands. I think that's important, but it's not. I don't think a lot of people.
It's rare.
It is rare. It is rare, for sure.
It's Go ahead, Paul.
No, I want to hear what you had to say, but I've got a thought about the new Godwin Falcon CD that we had talked about on the show. So remind me of that.
What I was going to say is what you were saying about Spotify, Paul, and that it's really good or better than anything in the past at identifying what you might like. I think that those technological advances are the same reasons that the record labels are signing stupid bands, like Andy said. I think that sadly, technology has made us like more clear of the markets, and like in reality, most people are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And it's like the record labels aren't making dumb financial decisions. They're making really good ones, which means that they're making a shit ton of money off of
they're making less
signing
money than they used
dumb
to.
bands.
Yeah, they're making less money than they used to, like,
right.
as a whole, but they're funding these dumb people.
That's how they're staying afloat.
Algorithmically.
Yeah, and this is not speaking for every record label, because there are record labels that do take good care of their bands, but we're talking about the record label that My Morning Jacket, the Jim James dude, the record label that he does has like a lot of bands have like spoken on high about like how
it's important. It's important that we recognize that we're in the minority. Like, most people listen to music as background noise or while they're driving.
Yeah.
And that's why that shit is the most popular, because it works when you're not paying attention. Like, we're in the minority. Most people don't give a shit how good the music is. They just are like, oh yeah, that's got a nice beat and I've heard it a bunch of times. Just fucking leave that on the radio.
Yeah.
Like,
so do you guys believe that it's possible that there's like some sort of subversion going on in music, like some underlying secondary nature to what is getting put on the radio to kind of like passively suggest ideas and things? I mean, this is where the whole conspiracy theorist comes in. I told you guys.
Let me crack open one for this conversation.
Yeah,
because
you
I think
guys are a bunch of fucking Mel Gibson.
No, Andy, I was going to say no. I don't think there's any of that going on. I think that the only motivation for that is money.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything.
Yeah,
well, here's something I read, and then Paul, you can interject. But I read something a long time ago. It was on it was linked on World Star or something like that, and it was somebody suggesting that the gangster rap movement that happened in the 90s, which also came about around the same time that the privatized prison system was being developed in the U.S., were co-opted, so that they were being run by the same shadowy
figure, like
so that these people that had all this money invested in the prison systems were also putting forward this music that encouraged people to steal, to rob, to kill. And so ultimately, it was an investment. It was an investment for them to put these people behind bars, because they're getting a $20,000 subsidy from the government in order to do that. And basically, the way it would work out is that they get $20,000 per inmate, and they spend less than that. So they're actually pulling a legitimate profit off of putting people in jail.
That's
fascinating.
That's a nice, like a stoner moment that you guys had there.
I don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I honestly don't think that the world is as complex as everybody makes it out to be. But I do like. Here's my counterpoint to that is that you have a lot of guys who were just living their lives as young men in the gangster rap movement, and they saw a lot of fucked up shit happen, like people get killed over drug deals, and then everybody starts carrying guns, and that's what they were rapping about, because that's where they lived. Like, rap wasn't as happy-go-lucky as it was in the 80s, where everybody's like, going to the beach, and I got a sweet car, which, like, old school hip-hop is great, but then the next, chronologically, the next part is gangster rap.
Yeah, the other side of the coin.
And, so these dudes living in LA before, as technology gets better, everywhere gets more accessible. And so people start like getting to go out to the big city, and they might have been from somewhere else, but they're rapping about in the, 80s, and they're rapping about like, yo, we're going to the beach, you know, say she's just a friend. All this, like, kind of regular shit to write a song about, no matter what genre it is. And then these, you know, like, there's a lot of singer-songwriters movement that happened in, like, the 60s and the 70s. And you could even say, like, you know, even if the rappers of gangster rap weren't listening to Bob Dylan, there's, like, a collective unconscious that everybody kind of shares. Like, when somebody discovers something across the world, somebody else will discover the same technology across the world. And that's why there's competitors and companies. Like, humanity evolves at the same pace. And so these guys, this is a long fucking soliloquy about hip-hop. but these guys, they really were just writing about their lives, and they were writing about what they were going through. And they had to be hard at some points, but a lot of people heard that and didn't live in that environment. Is everything okay? Andy?
Good here. I'm back.
Yeah, I lost you for a second, but I got you.
All right, cool.
I'm here.
But a lot of people
right.
would hear it.
We're good.
Are you guys?
Keep going, Paul.
Yeah, a lot of people would hear that and be like, yeah, wow, Biggie's talking shit about shooting up people, but I live in, you know, some backwoods town in New Mexico in the middle of the desert. And I never experienced that, but that must be how some people live. Like, without any context of celebrity. You know, like, people got covered less. And news was more important back in the day because everybody didn't have access to it. So some people just started killing people for no reason because they thought that that was the cool thing to do. I mean, that's why, like, that part of rap culture got... Go ahead. Is Andy gone again?
You think it was like a cultural
I think I'm good.
I'm good
Andy?
too.
Everyone.
All right. Cultural zeitgeist? No, it's the same.
Shit.
Yeah.
It's the same way that people like hated hair metal, like the people against Kiss. They didn't know enough about it and took it out of context. Just as like a lot of kids who didn't have it as bad off as these like gangster rappers started acting like thugs to, you know, like that didn't have to. And it's all like, does that make sense?
No, it does.
I think Paul, what you said is more likely than what Andy said. I mean,
Kind of an Occam's razor thing.
Andy, what you said is fascinating and awesome.
It's funny to think. It's funny to think about.
Right. I love to explore like the conspiracy side of it. But yeah, I think Paul just like walked you down the
primrose path, as it were.
Maybe the more logical thing, the less interesting thing.
But
Like,
there's always
like-
the possibility, because we do live in a world of infinite possibility. I mean,
You're right, and I don't want to be a fucking blind to like when some shit really does happen.
But Biggie's life got harder till the day he died, and some people heard "Mo Money, Mo Problems" for the first time, and they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill people because they got mo money and they mow my problem," and like just didn't know, like they didn't know what he meant by that. But his life got harder until the day he died, and even though he like, you know, was very successful in his musical career, and like him and Tupac arguably like two of the best rappers ever, a lot of people took them out of context, and they're like.
Oh yeah.
I listen to Tupac as like, let me see his view on life. I don't listen to it and like start sagging my pants and wearing a wife beater and gangbanging everywhere.
Yeah, it's
and
not
like,
it's not an emulatory experience.
no, but
Right.
but like that wasn't even a cultural thing. Cross culturally, everybody who listened to Tupac at the time like got more street hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody at least wanted to envision themselves.
Yeah, I
that way.
definitely did. I used to blast Tupac in my truck, turn that shit all the way up. I mean, and
Hell yeah.
imagine, you know, that I was somebody I wasn't. I mean, it was almost escapist in a way for like.
Oh yeah, all entertainment is a little bit.
So
Well,
I think.
the internet makes everybody more transparent because you could like find a lot of shit on any group or band or artist that you want to, that they might not even want you to have access to. And like back in the day, there's mystique to a artist, because you'd hear stories and then you'd reiterate the stories and somebody take them the wrong way and tell their other friend the wrong version of the story, and then it turns into like, oh yeah, this dude butt fucked a chick while he ate a bird's head off.
Well,
And
also, tiger
also-
dick. He wasn't eating a bird's head. He was eating a tiger dick.
So, if anybody wants to eat Drake's dick, that chart showed us that they're gonna lose their vocabulary if they eat it.
And it
But
all comes full
Absolutely.
circle.
If I had to eat
And
Drake's
back
dick,
in the day,
if I had to eat Drake's dick, I would grill it on a propane grill, and I would serve it Chicago dog style.
back in the day, also you could go to Brunswick, Georgia, and not know how the chef that was cooking your meal would hypothetically cook tiger dick, but now you do.
Goddamn right.
Yeah,
So thanks for listening to Human Landmine.
Yeah.
Globalization.
Andy, I feel like your resume just got better because of this episode, because like there might be some country that still sells tiger dicks. And they're looking for the premier tiger dick chef, and they're gonna watch this podcast on accident and be like,
God, what if
That
I made
guy.
my name that way? And that was my
You should.
shtick from now on. It's like that's that guy who cooks tiger dick after trying
You
to
did
outlaw
mention you didn't know what direction you were going
Yeah,
yet.
no.
Now
Yeah.
maybe you do.
international cuisine.
New York City has a place called the Meatball Shop. They got a couple locations. What if there was just like a place next door called the Tiger Dick Shop?
I think there's room for anything in New York City. I mean, there's this he was an old chef, Sam Mason. I don't believe he's cooking anymore, but after he stopped, he's opened up. One thing he did was open up a bar called Lady J's. Steven, I don't know if you've been yet, but you should check it out.
What, lady? What?
Lady J's,
okay.
and it's
no,
a
I don't know
bar
what
that he's
is.
running by this guy Sam Mason. He's
Okay.
he's the curator of the bar, and then he also owns a artisanal mayonnaise shop. So if
Oh boy.
an artisanal mayonnaise shop can make headway in New York City, I'm pretty sure there's a market for anything there.
Dude, I go to a place called the Peanut Butter Shop all the time. That's equally something in jars that is sold as an entire shop.
Hey, if anybody has
so I
a
believe it.
Tiger Dick hookup, this is our
Let me
$1 million
know.
idea. We're opening
Tiger
up
Dick Shop.
a Tiger Dick Shop in. Let's open it in a pretentious area. Let's open it in like Phi Dye.
Okay.
Yeah, that's so
Fine.
pretentious. I don't even know where that is.
That's the
like
financial district.
Yeah, we're gonna sell it to like Wall Street guys after they close $2 million deals.
Yeah.
No, they need
Do you
it- they
feel
need
like
it
a man? Wait until you munch on a fucking tiger dick, bro.
That goes back into the whole Wolf. I just saw Wolf of Wall Street.
Great
recently.
movie.
Fantastic movie, and I thought I was gonna hate it because I have a strong distrust for Wall Street and the power elite. But I found myself empathizing with him so much because you see him and he starts out this very ingenuous guy, and somebody starts throwing an opportunity to make shitloads of money doing nothing at you, and what do you do? What do you do?
Everyone says yes.
Everyone says yes.
Yep.
You would say yes. I would say yes. Paul, you would say yes.
I agree.
So I thought that
Yeah.
movie was very interesting.
Last
that way.
episode, we told people how much money it would cost to pay us to kick us in the nuts. So
$50.
I think we definitely
$50.
for you,
Wow.
$50.
That was lower. That was lower
Nah,
than
that-
ours.
No, $500. No, $50.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's what we said.
Now, I got to tell you guys about this Buck. Since he started working at the medical university, we started calling him Big Corporate because he has like a big boy job, and it's a hospital, so it translates to big hospital, big ambulance, big ICU, big emergency room. We're just like making up a lot of different
Big
nicknames
stuff.
for him. And B Street runs right through the medical campus. And yesterday evening, we started calling him the Wolf of B Street.
Nice.
Nice.
Big helicopter pad.
That's very good.
Big medical bill.
Infinite nicknames.
Big medical bill. That needs to be his
Yeah.
slide on there.
Big ambulance.
Hell yeah.
If you guys see Buck, call him the Wolf of B Street, because he's got fly ass clothes for work.
Z and Scrubs.
I think I feel like we're at a good stopping point now. This might be the longest episode of Human Landmines ever.
No, we might have.
And it should have been because Andy's a fascinating character.
Yeah, you.
And we
added a
want to
lot.
thank you, Andy, for being here.
Hey,
Thank you,
guys.
Andy.
Hey, Andy, how can people learn more about you? Wait, never mind. I might have answered that. Can they follow you on Instagram?
You guys can follow me on Instagram. It's _TheRealAndrew, no spaces. You guys can follow me there. You can add me on Facebook if you would like. I'd be more than happy to talk about food, art, music, whatever you want to chat about.
Hey,
I love
everybody's
meeting new people,
everybody's a foodie, Andy. That's why we're alive.
We totally skipped out on that, and I agree. But I think the difference between a foodie and somebody who eats food is somebody who appreciates and understands where their food is coming from. So I wanted to get that off my
There you go.
chest before
It's
we
the whole
left.
conversation. He just crushed it.
That's my goodbye comment for you guys.
And just like any trend,
we're all gonna stop
is-
eating food. Soylent Green,
Food-
check out Soylent Green. It's a food replacement program. It's real. Soylent.
No,
I know it is.
no, but I was just gonna say, like, foodies are people who appreciate good food, but in 5 years, people will be calling other people foodies as an insult.
Probably. It's like a hipster.
He
Yeah,
still
they're-
eats food. He's not eating meal replacements. Fuck
No,
that guy.
no, like,
What a pretentious asshole.
What a douche.
no, like this place has really
I mean,
good ribs, and they're like, I prefer the cows from this farm. They'll be like, you fucking foodie poser.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me
Nice.
on the show, and I hope to grace your fine programming again soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, we'll do it again. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Hope you're chugging. Have a beautiful day.
Peace, bitches.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Peace.